What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be getting into power rankings. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done this. I did switch this up. I did one last week. So that's why these rankings are going to be going off what I did last week. Just couldn't upload that one at that time. So anyway, let's get into it. I'm going to start out with the number 30 team. That's going to be the Orlando Magic at 11-40, staying at the same spot from last time. Orlando, clearly the worst team in the NBA. They have won 2 straight. Yeah, they're 4-6 in the last 10 games, so that's something for Orlando. You know, they got Suggs, they got that young unit, they got Anthony. They beat the Mavs yesterday, so that's pretty impressive from the Magic. And then they beat the team that's right above them, which is the number 31 team, the Pistons, by a lot. But I'm still having the Pistons above them, mainly due to the Pistons. By the way, Pistons staying at the same spot at 29, but mainly due to the Pistons have Cade Cunningham. He's a better player. Plus, they got a slightly better record, which kind of gives them a little bit of an edge, and that's going to help in the Pistons' favor. The Pistons won a game. Last game, they're 3-7 in the last 10. Not bad, but obviously for them, it's not bad. They're going to be focusing on the future. It's a rebuild there in Detroit. Hopefully, they can get things on track. But yeah, the Pistons are going to be sitting at number 29. And then moving on to number 28 and number 27, these teams are extremely close. The Houston Rockets, both these teams staying in this trash tier. Rockets and Thunder. We got a 14-35 Rockets team and a 14-34 Thunder team. Switching spots from last week. The Thunder have lost 7 straight, but they're still going to be overtaking the Rockets just barely. I like the Thunder just a little bit more. They can pull off a little bit more upsets, and they have a half a game ahead. So one more game probably is worse for each of these teams. They're probably going to lose. So I guess that brings the Thunder. These two teams are interchangeable. They could go either way. I wouldn't be mad with either one. I do like the Thunder's roster in general a little bit more than Houston. All right, so now we're going to move into this bad tier. So that's going to start out with the number 28 team, which will be the Sacramento Kings. Going to be dropping down a couple spots. Kings at 18-33. They're just the Kings. So I had high hopes for the Kings entering the year. I think they're a young team. They got some potential, but it seems like they're in this spot every year. Right now, they're trailing to the Knicks by 13. They've had a tough schedule, but just have not been able to win games these past few games. The Kings are not out of this in the hunt picture. I don't think this team will be in it by the end of the year. That's why they're not in the hunt here. Oh wait, my bad. Wait, let me just change this up. Sorry, that's my bad. All right, anyway, but the Kings are going to be number 28. Number 26, sorry. Kings are going to need to work things out. And then moving on to number 25, it'll be the Pelicans. And the Pelicans at 18-31, staying at the same spot. Obviously, we know the Pelicans. They're just the Pelicans. They've pretty much ruined Zion's career. But we look at the Pelicans, and they're trying to give Zion, when he comes back, a punter's chance to make the playoffs. And that's all you need, really, from Williamson. It's just to try and give him a punter's chance. And if they could pull off some upsets here and there, maybe Zion can carry this team into that play-in tournament by the end of the year. But Zion's probably gone after the season. And you're going to have to continue this rebuild. I would really fire your GM. He's just not done a good job with the Pelicans. But yeah, New Orleans, 25-18-31. All right, now 24. We're going to have the Indiana Pacers jumping up a couple spots at 18 and 33. Mainly due to the collapse of the Kings and the Pelicans. The Pacers kind of staying where they have been for the past 2 months. 18 and 33, just not really getting better, not really getting in that picture. The Eastern Conference is very tight right now. You cannot be 18 and 33 in the Eastern Conference and expect to make the play-in tournament, which is where they're at right now. So that's what I have on the Pacers at the moment. But yeah, I just don't think this team will be in the hunt. I think they're a decently head coach team. I think this team is good enough to make a run. But yeah, the Pacers will be number 24, and that'll wrap up this bad tier. All right, moving on to the in the hunt tier. We got 3 teams, but let's go start out with the number 23 team. Got the Spurs. Where are they? There they are. All right, the San Antonio Spurs at 19 and 32 going to stay at the same spot from last week. 4 and 6 in the last 10 games. This is just, again, kind of like the Pacers, same team, but I just think they're better coached. They know what they are. And again, Greg Popovich can get this team into punter's chance to make the playoffs. It's the Western Conference. It's going to be easier to make that 10 seed in the play-in tournament than in, say, the East. Say you got the Spurs right there, game and a half back on the Trailblazers, which actually the Kings are a game and a half back on the Trailblazers. I mean, the Pelicans. So maybe the Pelicans are in the Sun Hunt tier. It's tough to say, but Spurs right now, number 23 at 19 and 32. Greg Popovich, I think, could lead this team to make the play-in tournament. I think they will be in the hunt for a long time until probably near the end of the season, and the Spurs will probably miss out, maybe just barely. All right, so we got our first play-in team. This doesn't wrap up the play-in in the hunt here, but we got the Portland Trailblazers in the Western Conference. Trailblazers kind of getting things back on track. They're 5-5 in the last 10 games. They got a game right now against the Thunder, which they're winning. But yeah, I mean, they're playing decent. They're beating on some of these worser teams, and that's all you really need from the Blazers. You need to pull out some upsets. Obviously, the Damian Lillard thing is big, but if you're the Pelicans, I say you got a chance to make this playoffs. I think they're, as long as you got Damian, you're going to have a chance, and this is the Western Conference. Eastern Conference, I wouldn't have this team in it. They would be the third team out, as you can see from this. They probably would have had a worse record as well. So, but we'll see. Blazers at number 22. That's where they're going to sit. All right, number 21, we're going to have Washington, the Wizards, at 23 and 26. Going to be dropping down staying at the same spot. My bad. But the Wizards, yeah, they're going to be in the hunt tier. Washington have lost 5 straight. Just not a good stretch for this team, man. 8-5. Just a game back on the Hawks, who are the 10 seed in the East right now. But I don't really see this team making a run to make the playoffs. I just think they're close, though. I just think, I would pick the Knicks or someone over them to make this playoffs. But unfortunate that they're not in the Western Conference. But the Wizards are going to be sitting at number 21. And kind of, it's time to go into rebuild in Washington. It's just not working out. You're just going to stay this mediocre team for a while if you just continue down this path. And then the Knicks are going to go at number 20. Going to drop down 3 spots. For New York to round out this play-in tournament tier. This in the hunt tier, and then we'll go to the play-in tournament tier. Continue it. Knicks 23 and 27. You're disappointed in the Knicks after a great year. They've lost 3 straight, and this is the opening that they can get. 23 and 27. I believe that this is about the time last year when they sparked. So maybe it happens again, but New York's gonna have to turn things around because You're expecting this team to be a playoff team entering into the year. They added Walker. This is a better roster. I don't know, but maybe that was just a fluke last season. But New York fans want them to see their team in the playoffs. We'll see what happens, but that's where the New York Knicks are going to stand at number 20. All right, that'll do it for the In the Hunt here. We're going to move on to the play-in tournament tier. That's going to start out with the 19 team, jumping up a spot. The Raptors. I've been impressed with the Raptors lately. Toronto, if you look at them, 4-6 in the last 10 games at 24-23. Right now, we're actually only 4 games back on that 6th seed behind the Nets. So it's pretty. I'm telling you, this race is tight in the East. I do think that they're the 19 team, though, behind some of these Western Conference teams who are about the same record. I have respect for them, though. You know, Fred VanVleet's turning things on for this team. They have a good roster there. But you're going to expect some more entering into this final stretch if you're going to want to make the playoffs, because you got this Wizards and Knicks team, and other teams are going to want, like the Celtics and the Hawks, they want this play-in tournament spot a lot. I do think the Raptors are very well coached. They'll be able to make this play-in tournament by the end of the year. All right, moving on, we're going to have the number 18 Wolves, Timberwolves, at number 25. This is the Timberwolves that we kind of expected last year. They're kind of piecing things together. Karl-Anthony Towns, I think, got robbed of an all-star game, as well as Rudy Gobert from Utah. But the Wolves, I think, are a good team. At 25-25, I think that they're just a solid team right now, looking very good for them to make the play-in tournament. It's just, you look at it, 15.5 games back on the 1 seed, because you got the Suns, who are just a monster right now. So, yeah, but anyway, the Timberwolves playing good basketball, sorry. Got Cat, Edwards. They're the only team in this Western Conference play-in tier that actually has a plus differential, so that's interesting. But anyway, guys, that is the Timberwolves. Let's move on to the number 17 team. That'll be the LA Lakers. Going to be dropping down a couple spots. LA 24-27. The reason this is is this the only team? No, there's one more above them that's below 500. So Lakers didn't get that glory, but LA lost 3 straight, 3-7 in the last 10 games. The potential on this team is high. I said entering into the year, though, that was a bad trade for Russell Westbrook, though. It was just, I don't even know why you do it. LeBron James, if he's making the call, that was not a smart move. You had a good roster from last year. You just got injured. I don't see why you need to move on from them. But LA, at number, I love to see the collapse of LA, but you got to respect the talent with LeBron, AD, and Westbrook. I don't like Westbrook, but he brings something to the table. You got to respect some of that for the Lakers at number 17, and we'll see if this team makes a run. The talent is there. I don't think you want to play the Lakers in any round in the playoffs, but that's where I stand on the Lakers. And then number 16, the only other team that's remaining that's not below 500, and it is the Hawks, who have won 7 straight games after having a 3-game losing streak, at least, because of this. So they're 7-3 in the last 10 games. So Atlanta, man, you love to see it. Trae Young starting to click. This team's starting to click, even though they traded away. What's his name? Collins, I think. But this team, they still have it. They still have it there. And you like it from the Hawks. I think that as long as you have Young, he has that playoff experience under his belt from last year, you have a chance. And that's why they're high up on this list. And I like the Hawks. So, yeah, Hawks going to sit at 16, jumping up a couple spots. And then we're going to move on to the number 15 team. We got the LA Clippers. Going to be number 15, going to jump up a spot. 26-26. better of the LA teams. At 5-5, you like the Clippers, Paul George, and this roster there that they got. I don't think they're gonna go far in the playoffs, though. I think they have some weaknesses on this team, but they're a decent. They have a decent team with Paul George. You have a chance. I love the LA Clippers. We said it before. They basically stayed around this spot all season. So yeah, that's the Clippers at number 15, and then we got the Celtics, who are going to be sitting at number 14, going to be staying at the same spot. At 26 and 25, you like Boston. Are 6-4 in the last 10 games. You got Tatum, you got Brown, you got that whole roster ahead of you. That's just very good. But I don't think that this Celtics team. It's just like last year again. It's not as much of a disappointment since it was like this last year. But yeah, still the Celtics at 26 and 25. Kind of expecting more into the year. But it's the Boston Celtics. Again, if you got Tatum, you got Brown, you're going to have a chance in the playoffs. It's not a team you want to play, I think. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But that's where I stand in the Celtics right there at number 14. And the number 13, we're going to have the Charlotte Hornets to round out this play-in tournament tier. I stay at the same spot. And Hornets, 28 and 23. Clearly the best out of all these play-in tournament tiers. They're 6-4 in the last 10. Even though they're the only team in the Eastern Conference that's not in this play-in tournament tier, that has a negative differential. That's not going to matter, though. They're playing good basketball. I like the Hornets. Ball, Hayward, got this decent roster, decent bench, and you got a good, solid off starters. And that's going to lead to some success. I think this team will be in the play-in tournament tier by the end of the year, and they will be able to escape the play-in tournament and make the playoffs, maybe do some damage. So that's where the Hawks are. The Hornets, 28 and 23. All right, now we're getting into the spicy stuff in this playoff tier. But there's only 2 teams in this tier, by the way. There is 10 contenders. 10. So I'm telling you, there's a lot of good teams that's going to be in this contender tier. But that's going to start out with, here in this playoff tier, let's get done with this. 12 Cavaliers. I struggle with these two, so I'm just going to throw them out there. 12 Cavaliers dropping down a spot. And then the Mavericks dropping down a spot. 30 and 20 Cavs would start out with them. I know the Cavs are playing good ball. I know that. They got Garland. They have a good roster. I'm just not ready. They don't have any playoff experience. Not ready to jump on the board. They're 8-2 in the last 10 games. You got to respect it. But Cavs, I'm staying. I'm not on the train. So I'm staying hesitant on the Cavs. I know a lot of people are jumping on this train. There's still plenty of season to go. We'll see what happens if they go hot, like the Grizzlies say, for a longer period of time. I could see this team being in that contender tier, but not right now. And then Dallas, I feel like this team will be like this the rest of the year at number 11, dropping down a spot, 29 and 22. As long as you got Luka, you're on the fringe of being a contender. But the Mavericks, there's just so much contenders in this Western Conference. I'm just not going to take the Mavericks seriously coming into this playoff spot. So, yeah, Dallas, Porzingis, 29 and 22 is a pretty good record, and they're sneaking up on Utah, who's struggling right now. Only a game back, but they could have been a game back tied with the Jazz if they beat the Magic. So, kind of disappointing for the Mavericks. But, yeah, that's where they are at number 11. And now time for the contender tier. And that's going to start out with the number 10 team, which will be the Denver Nuggets. Jumping up 2 spots. You love to see it for Denver. They're going on a winning streak. 5 games in a row, 8-2. They're only a game back on the Jazz. And guess what? They play the Jazz this week on Wednesday. So that is a huge game. Whoever wins that game, I'm assuming will take that number 4 spot. So big game. Do you think the Nuggets would win that game? Jazz are struggling, and Ingles got injured. So Nuggets, Jokic is turning things on. I don't know when Murray's going to be back, but this team, it's a contender. And it's time to, now that they're going on a winning streak, it's time to respect the Nuggets. And Jokic, legitimate MVP contender, might be the MVP favorite right now. If Steph's struggling, he's carrying this Nuggets team. And that's all you need. And then another center that's carrying this team, it's going to be the Sixers at number 9, 30 and 19. Literally, Embiid is carrying this team on his back with Simmons being Simmons. So Sixers, they got Harris, they got all these decent other pieces, but it's really all Embiid that's helping them. And just like the the Nuggets, they're going on a winning streak and now should deserve some respect. 4 games, and now they're getting this respect that they deserve. They are staying at the same spot, but they are in the contender tier. So, yeah, the Sixers in this contender tier. You love to see it. If you're a Philly fan, you're a contender. Be happy for that, because I did not think that with the way things are going right now in Philadelphia. All right, and then this pains me as a Jazz fan to do this, but number 8 is the Jazz, dropping down 5 spot. What is a horrible month? COVID's ruined everything. No excuses, but COVID's ruined everything. They're like 2-11 since the since Ingles got COVID, and Ingles is out for the season. Might be his whole career with the ACL injury. They've lost 5 straight. They're 2-8 in the last 10. Man, you hate to say it, but Utah, they're without Donovan and Rudy for this whole week, and they had a tough schedule. But, the Jazz, I think a lot of people are going too harsh. Recency bias. For all this to happen and for them to still be plus 5.7 differential in the NBA, that's the third best in the NBA. So still, you got to respect it. They were just dominating the NBA before all this happened. And we'll see what happens with Utah. I think they'll be back. Just a rough month. But they deserve to come down. They're going to come down a lot, dropping down 5. All right, moving on to number 7. We're going to have the Nets. The Nets, 29 and 20. Disappointing. The same way as the Jazz for Brooklyn. I think a lot of people as well, though, are just going down on Brooklyn after a loss of 4 straight. 29 and 20, they're without KD. Harden's going to be back. This team will have a good final stretch, and this is probably going to be one of the Super Bowl picks for the end of the year. But you don't want to be a 6th seed, and you definitely don't want to be in the play-in tournament tier if you're Brooklyn. So you're going to want to go on a winning, we're going to want to go on a winning streak. You're only 2.5 games on the 1 seed. It's interesting, to say the least, in that Eastern Conference race. But, yeah, the Nets at number 6. We all know them. I know number 7. We all know them. Dropping down 2 spots. And then a very familiar foe, the Milwaukee Bucks, of reigning champs, dropping down a couple spots at number 6, 31 and 21. 2 games back. They're just ahead of the Nets. It's very close between these 2 teams. Actually, between these 3 teams. Actually, between, the next 8 through 4. It's very close, but the Nets are going to take it at number 7. The Bucks are going to take it at 6. Giannis, best player, maybe in the whole NBA. He is carrying, well, not carrying, but he's really helping this Bucks team. They're 5-5 in the last 10. A lot of people are jumping on some of these other teams who were 7-3, 8-2 in the last 10 games. But yeah, we got Brooklyn. Milwaukee at number 6. All right, now we're into the top 5. That's going to start out with the Heat. Going to be jumping up a spot at 31 and 18. The Heat, 32 and 18. Got Lowry, you got Butler. This is a very good team. Then the number 1 seed in the East. I think they're the second best team, though, in the East. It's very close between all these teams. But, yeah, Heat, we all know them. Lowry and Butler, that's a good combo. They're trying to shake off that last year's playoff game against the Bucks, who they were barely ahead of. So we'll see what happens with that. But Miami's heating up at the right time. Not necessarily the right time, but they're starting to eating up. And number 4, we got the Bulls. A lot of people are gonna think this is biased. I'm not a Bulls fan at all, but Bulls are 4-6 in the last 10 games. Not the best, but Chicago, you gotta recognize them. Even after all these injuries have happened, DeRozan's playing incredible. This team's the number 2 team in the East, and I do think they have the best roster in the Eastern Conference. And will this playoff experience catch up to them in the playoffs? Probably, but if it doesn't, this team is the best team in the East. Just about getting a higher seed at this point and staying healthy for the playoffs, and that's what I think this Bulls team is going to be about. So excited for the playoff predictions, but yeah, the Bulls are going to be number 4, and now we're getting into the final 3, which is pretty easy to distinguish right now. It's going to be Memphis at number 3. Just going to say it. Memphis is going to jump up 4 spots. I've been too low on Memphis, I'll be honest, over these past few games, but they've completely skyrocketed. 7-3, won 3 straight, trying to catch up with these other teams, but they've just surpassed the Jazz and are now really in comfortable position with that 3 seed. Unfortunate that they're in the Western Conference. They probably should be in the East geographically, but Memphis, good stretch. Then the Warriors going to stay at the same spot at 37-13. Golden State won 5 straight. Curry was kind of cooling off a bit, but now starting to get back. This is a good team. Thompson back. It's just a great team. Let's be honest. You hate to say it, but this team's a beast, the number 1 team. 40-9. They've won 10 straight. I don't even know if that's happened this year yet. But they have done it. And I mean, it's just so unstoppable right now. They have the best differential in the league. They probably have the best at a lot of things in the league. They don't have the best differential, but they're close. Behind the Warriors by 0.3. But Suns, phenomenal. You love to see this team, was it a fluke last year? That's what people were saying, that they made the championship game. But they have proven that it's not. So, anyway, guys, thank you all for watching this video today. Hope you all enjoyed this video for the NBA Power Rankings. Hope you have a good night. Peace out.